Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star original continent based on novel. So let's start. With the golden horned beast's strength, it's easy to win the fight against that Shawu undying. Killing him, however, it's not at the level of burning undying energy. The beast doesn't have undying energy. Have I reached a dead end? Luo Feng pondered on the many options within his mind. Everything was discarded again, as none could work. There's only one way. Maybe, just maybe. Luo Feng gritted his teeth. I'll rely on you, Shawu wings. The beast had already unleashed its strongest sky-tearing claw. The next strongest move would be the Shawu wings. This was a treasure given to him by the primal chaos city leader himself. It was used to flee, and it did have some battle ability too, the leader had told Luo Feng back then. Of course, it was mainly for fleeing and flying. It only had minimal attacking abilities. Luo Feng had experimented with it before and felt that its strongest points were its speed and sharp feathers. Slashing with them while flying at high speeds was like cutting with a blade. Howl! The silver beast flapped its wings and once again rushed at the fire giant Finalizing. Can you not be so excessive? Why? Finalizing was worried and angry. This silver beast's instantaneous speed, how can it be so absurd? It's only barely an emperor, it shouldn't be that fast. If it was a bit slower, I'd be able to reach sub-light speed and then escape. Fog Island's resistance was pretty huge. Reaching sub-light speed was the limit. One had to go to the special universe travel spot to reach light speed. As long as one was an undying, with enough time, they could all reach close to light speed. The moment they reached that speed, even if an emperor level was chasing behind, he wouldn't be able to catch up to a normal undying. As everybody's speed was about the same, no one could actually catch anybody. Unless one had teleportation. Hence, the undying battles relied strongly on instantaneous speeds. If the distance was close without sufficient space in between, it would be easy for one to instantly catch up with another ahead. After all, it did take a while to reach close to light speed. Shawu wings 3 forms. I can only trigger the first form currently, and my flight is already at a demonic level, the movement speed is shocking. Luo Feng thought. Even Yang Zhu with his treasure from his father, the moment he triggers it he can fight against a Pinnacle emperor. Even though my Shawu wings aren't mainly for attack, but used for fleeing, the moment I dodge and flee, unless one has teleportation, or time stop, even an emperor-level undying wouldn't be able to catch me. Rumble. The beast flapped its wings and moved fast as lightning as it left a blur in the air. At this point it already reached beside Finalizing. The feathers were like blades. As it flew past, the feathers acted like blades and slashed at Finalizing, almost like slashing through tofu as his body split in half at the waist. Ah! Finalizing let out a howl of pain as he was slashed in half. Even when he was reduced to powder before, he had never once let out a cry of pain. Pain, intense pain. The formless piercing energy acted like water. Melting the ice, his undying energy seemed incredibly weak against it as it was forcefully melted away. However, the effect on his body was very minimal. It only instantly destroyed 2% of his undying energy. This was destruction from the root. Ah! Finalizing howled in pain. I've succeeded. Luo Feng stood on the distant peak and revealed a look of glee. With his sensing abilities, he could feel his enemy instantly lose 2% of his undying energy. This effect surprised Luo Feng, ha ha. This is indeed a treasure even the primal chaos city leader regards as valuable. Its main use is for fleeing, however it still has some attacking ability, and that little bit is this powerful. And this is but a small portion of its true strength. The Shawu wings were incredibly mysterious. With the trigger of one's body and energy strength, it could trigger mysterious abilities. Luo Feng called this the space energy, and this was the powerful core of the wings. This particular energy allowed the golden horned beast to fly at shocking demonic speeds. The second form of the wings allowed for it to completely throw the space into disarray. One had to reach the third level of bones to trigger it. The third form allowed one to control the space tides. Required fifth level of horn to trigger. This all required the space energy from the wings to trigger. This special energy was incredibly powerful, however Luo Feng could only unleash the first form currently. The space energy was from the core of the wings, but Luo Feng could only trigger a very small portion of it currently. Yet it could already destroy 2% of his undying body. Ha ha, go and die. Ka Wu undying, go and die. Luo Feng was extremely happy. Rumble. The beast flapped its wings, and he once again used them to slash past Fen Ya's body. Fen Ya had no ability to even dodge. Even though he reformed over and over, as he reformed, the beast would slash past him again, and he would lose another 2% of his undying energy. Even with an undying body, it would only take 50 times for it to be over, if he was a normal undying. Losing 50% of his undying energy was akin to 50% of one's soul, and his consciousness would instantly crumble. With an undying body, even after losing 99% of his undying body, he still wouldn't die. However, the final 1% could at most hold his memories. He would become a cannon fodder amongst undyings. Relying on this 1% to regain all his past strength would require trillions of years. No. No. Fen Ya howled in pain. Spare me, respected Emperor, spare me. Fen Ya communicated mentally to the golden horned beast. Against the beast's terrifying speed, he knew that even if he burned his undying energy to flee, he would still be unable to escape. That mysterious silver beast was simply too fast. In an instant, he was attacked over 10 times. Fen Ya's undying body was left with only 50%, he lost half of his soul like that. Emperor, don't force me, don't force me. He howled. Force you? Other race, just die. The beast's speed was terrifying, its silver wings slashing over and over at Fen Ya's body, destroying countless years of energy accumulated within. The undying body was the core. No. No. Seeing that he was only left with 30% of his energy, he was panicking. Losing half of his strength was too huge a loss. He howled in rage and finally sunk into despair. As the silver beast once again attacked, he let out a howl within. Rumble. He instantly self-destructed his entire undying body. Self-destruct. Fen Ya's final decision. Even if he couldn't kill an emperor, he wanted to heavily damage him. This was his revenge. Rumble. The space about crumbled along with the mountain range. The beast had wrapped itself in the Shawu wings as it was extremely close to the explosion. The wings had the ability to disperse the attacks because of its special material. Before this, out of the trillions of races in the universe, only the primal chaos city leader knew of the existence of the Shawu wings. Destroying it was hard even for universe masters. This explosion was but a tickle against the wings. It diffused over 99% of the attack, with the final remnants of the force landing on the general armor, as long as it didn't exceed the armor's strength, 10,000 times that of a sector lord. It would be completely diffused. Rumble, the universe space crumbled. The huge beast wrapped in the silver wings flew back tens of thousands of kilometers, before spreading its wings in glory, its cold gold eyes looking forward. It took all the goods left behind by Fen Ya. I have to leave quickly, that battle drew too much attention, there are already some teams rushing over. Luo Feng frowned and looked in the distance. The beast entered his internal world. With a flash, he used his strike travel. However, it was obvious that his usage, compared to the golden horned beast, was on a completely different level. One was mainly the difference in body, and secondly, the beast had the Shawu wings. The death of one of the 12 officials of Fog Island, Boulder, was known to very few. He didn't send out a distress signal before dying, as there were no other allies who were stronger than him on Fog Island. Who could he ask for help from? As for leaving a warning to others, who would he warn? With the silver beast reaching emperor-level strength, only the 12 officials could actually make a move on it. As for the other 11 officials, none of them were from the Shawu race. Since I'm dying, some of you will come join me. Fen Ya didn't care about the others. If they were the same race, he may have warned them, but towards the other races, he wasn't that noble. Luo Feng returned to his base. The star-eating plant grew throughout the caves to protect his palace, and Luo Feng sat within happily. Ha ha, Shawu wings. Teacher gave me a true treasure. His mood was extremely good. He sat and drank his wine as he pondered. I finally got a sense of fighting a strong warrior. That Yangzhu has a treasure that would make other emperors jealous. Yet now, I have one too, and it's even better than his. Even though its main usage is for fleeing, however it still has some offensive and defensive abilities. He. A thought struck like lightning within his mind. He muttered softly, the golden horned beast's close combat and the blade work of the human body. After which his eyes gleamed. Back when he studied in Primal Chaos City for 12,000 years, Luo Feng had pondered about his blade work and the golden horned beast's close combat skills. The Virtual Universe Company had lots of techniques, however those techniques were infused with many other laws. Yet, Luo Feng couldn't find anything related to the Beast God Path techniques. After all, no one in humanity had ever reached Shiluo Juo's level of accomplishment in the Beast God Path. Even the blade techniques of some of the knights were simply in the beginning stages, hence those imperfect techniques would naturally not be sold. Selling those imperfect techniques would be a disgrace to the knights. And as he couldn't find suitable techniques, with only Shiluo Juo's techniques that were best suited for the Beast God Path, yet it was mainly just for spirit readers. After troubling over this for so many years, I'm still stuck with this even in the Outer Region Wars, even after spending 100 years trying to refine the 7 illusionary blades, and creating 7 new blade forms. However, his level of refining was too low. At least I gained quite a bit of experience from the process. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. And I finally found the right path from this battle. To improve, one had to first choose a path. Luo Feng was blind to this before. And without any experience from anyone else before. I'm so silly. He thought. Beast God. The Beast God itself is an embodiment of the fusion of laws itself, and it's a fusion of the space and gold laws. With my training, the golden horned beast will gradually naturally infuse the Beast God power and become more like it. Whether it's the claws, horn or tail etc., these are all weapons of the Beast God. I've had too much balance before. I couldn't find the most suitable technique. I didn't know whether to study claw techniques, or tail techniques, or any others. Now that I think about it, it's so silly. The strongest thing about the beast is without doubt the Shawu wings. Luo Feng was very excited. But these wings have little use to the Universe Masters. Naturally, as I get stronger, I should create techniques suited for the Shawu wings. The Shawu wings are strong themselves. Combined with suitable techniques, and infused with the Beast God path within, it'll naturally be the strongest method. Luo Feng smiled. The human will work on blade techniques etc. Why? Because his blade work was naturally stronger than his punches and kicks. If it was weaker, warriors would naturally use their fists. In reality, they all mostly used weapons, only few with special techniques used only their fists. Human body will work on blade work and spirit weapon techniques. The beast will create a scaled wing attack instead. With a certain path ahead, he just needed to spend the time and focus on his goals. Luo Feng began to madly study techniques, such as strike travel and linear universe, which were both ways to use his wings. They could also be used in attack. One had to know that the beast originally had scaled wings, hence, there were many winged attack techniques in its inherited memories. Luo Feng studied them. And from the Virtual Universe Company's treasure trove, he had already exchanged for some wing attack techniques. While it may not be as deep as strike travel or linear universe, what he needed was references and experience in creating such techniques. Studying many different types would broaden his perspectives and ideas. Studying many different techniques and melding the Beast God presence in, Luo Feng began to create his own battle techniques. Fog Island. Silver Beast, flee. Quickly flee. Its speed is too fast, it should be Emperor level. Little. The 4 other race warriors fled, however with a flash from the scaled wings, It felt like a bright light in the sky had descended on them. It was terrifying. After which they were all torn apart. These Pinnacle General Undyings had no way to withstand the terrifying Shawu attack infused with its space energy. They instantly crumbled and fell. Everybody disperse and flee. It's the Silver Beast. If just one of us can escape. The poor other race Undyings were once again decimated. As time passed, the news of the Silver Beast on Fog Island spread. During their discussions, the other race Undyings determined that this Silver Beast was at least at Pinnacle official power, or even at Emperor level. The moment one met it, that would be a tragedy. At least on Fog Island, there was no warrior strong enough to fight against it. No one knew of where it came from. They only knew it was from the human camp. However, each of the 4 camps all had large amounts of other races under them, and only very few had special races that were that powerful. This Silver Beast may have come from a desolate part of the universe. Bastard. Even if this beast isn't an emperor, he should have Pinnacle official level strength. And its speed is terrifying. With such strength, why is he staying on Fog Island? It should head out to the main continent. The main continent has large amounts of officials, even few emperors. That should be its battleground. Right, it's excessive. I heard that 2 of the 12 officials have already fallen. Don't say such things. It's hard to say whether they fell from the Silver Beast, or they fled to the main continent. Even if they left, they wouldn't let us know. Actually, this Silver Beast is still okay, killing only once every 2 years. The most terrifying thing is, anyone who meets it is certain to be killed. Hence, it scared off many of the warriors off Fog Island. Fog Island clearly has a lot less warriors nowadays. Bug Clan subservient race Undyings were discussing on a ship. The reputation of the Silver Beast had become a nightmare for Fog Island. It exceeded the 13 tyrants of Fog Island from before. Back then, how could the 12 officials and 1 star-eating sector lord compare to the Silver Beast? When meeting the others, the chances of fleeing was still high. But after meeting the Silver Beast, even if the 6 Undyings dispersed and fled, they would be lucky if even 3 of them managed to get away. In the blink of an eye, over 100 years had passed since he began studying winged techniques. Luo Feng finally managed to get a basic idea of a Shawu wing attack technique. Even though it was crude compared to Shiluo Duo's absolute manuals, it far exceeded the new 7-blade techniques, and there were still many areas to refine it. Creating a technique sure isn't easy. Especially creating a top-class technique, like Soul Imprint and Illusionary 7 Blades. Luo Feng shook his head. His perspectives had grown, and his law comprehension far exceeding his teacher, Hu Yangbo. Also, having seen many top-tier techniques, and including his teacher the Primal Chaos City Leader's guidance, how could his improvement be slow? It's time to go see my teacher. Luo Feng sent a thread of consciousness into the virtual universe network. According to the Primal Chaos City Leader's request, he would often go to Thunder Island, Primal Chaos Shrine to seek guidance. Virtual Universe Thunder Island. Within the highest area of Thunder Island, there stood a shrine engulfed in primal chaos energy. As the true disciple of the leader, Luo Feng would naturally be allowed here. Luo Feng suddenly appeared before the shrine. This shrine had no staff, and it was completely empty. All it had was the omnipresent primal chaos energy. He stepped in. Stopping within the shrine, he said respectfully, "Teacher. What's the matter?" A voice resounded from the energy. "I've made some progress in my techniques created for the Shawu wings. I'm here to seek guidance." Luo Feng said respectfully. "Unleash them." The voice spoke. "Yes." Luo Feng said respectfully. With a thought, he vanished and an over 100 kilometers long golden horned beast appeared. This was the virtual universe where everything was simulated, and according to what his teacher said, his shrine had some of the special effects of the training grounds. Whatever he thought of could appear. Luo Feng naturally transformed into the beast. Its wings were more suitable for the Shawu wings. The wings were naturally simulated in the virtual universe too. The highest authority in the virtual universe company was the Primal Chaos City Leader. Hence, when he became the golden horned beast etc., he didn't have to worry about any privacy issues. The beast waved its wings. This wave had the experience of strike travel, with just a slice during flight. Every attack was deep and powerful. The space would be sliced apart like tofu, natural and light. The feathers slashed past the air, and left behind a very faint trace. The beast landed in the shrine and transformed back to Luo Feng. Teacher. Luo Feng said respectfully. Luo Feng was pretty confident within. He was simply using the most basic usage of the Shawu wings over 100 years ago, simply borrowing its speed and special features. Now, however, it was completely different. It may seem simple, but its power was much more than before. Luo Feng was naturally elated. The voice spoke from the energies. Your wing attacks are already considered at entry level. It's obvious that they aren't perfected yet. If you do, they will be much more powerful. However, it's hard for you to find proper opponents to train them against. From today on, stay frequently in your training grounds. I'll arrange special opponents for you to match your weak points, allowing you to constantly battle them and train your techniques. In about 1,000 to 2,000 years, you'll have some progress in your first absolute manual. Yes, teacher. Luo Feng was incredibly respectful. Go on. The voice spoke. Luo Feng bowed respectfully and vanished. It has only been a few thousand years, but Luo Feng is already able to kill an official. Even though it's using the golden horned beast and the Shawu wings, it's already not bad. If this goes on, he will eventually catch up with his senior Kudi. The city leader sat cross-legged in his shrine. The energies revolved around him, making him look like a blurry silhouette. If I had given Kudi a treasure back then, maybe he would still be alive. The city leader sighed. Kudi was after all one that had passed even the sector Lord Sky Mountain. In terms of law comprehension, he naturally reached the 20th level. He was already close to a knight, and was much stronger than Luo Feng. Of course, he had trained longer than Luo Feng too. Even though he was very powerful and had many trump cards, with many survival methods etc., a treasure like the Shawu wings was hard even for a knight to acquire, much less geniuses like Kudi and Luo Feng. And only a being like the Primal Chaos City Leader, a true absolute warrior of the universe, could produce a treasure like that. Virtual Universe Primal Region, Luo Feng's training grounds. Originally, every primal region's training grounds were the same size. However, with the city leader making the arrangements, Luo Feng's place became as big as the expensive slaughterhouse, the virtual space within vast and endless. Within the vast space, Luo Feng stood there and transformed into the over 100 kilometers long silver beast, golden horned beast. Having the Primal Chaos City Leader as your teacher sure is good. Even my personal training grounds has become as large as the slaughterhouse. It sure is luxurious. His virtual assistant Barbata shouted happily. And he even arranges for special opponents to work on your techniques and weaknesses. Even your teacher, Tru Yang, doesn't have such vision and arrangements. Barbata said excitedly. Luo Feng nodded. Right. Even though he created these techniques, he wasn't sure on what their weaknesses were. It was hard to create opponents who were good enough. However, the ones arranged by the city leader were different. The city leader was one of the most pinnacle beings of the universe. Looking at Luo Feng's techniques was like looking at little children playing. He could easily see through everything. A blurry silhouette suddenly appeared and formed. He was a 10-meter tall body made completely of rocks. It had flames burning between the rocks, and its eyes were burning with purple flames. This god had a powerful energy that emanated throughout, and he wielded a 30 kilometers long blood-colored pitchfork. Of course, in terms of size, he was like an infant compared to the golden horned beast. Howl, the beast howled too. The first battle began. In the following weeks, every opponent the golden horned beast faced was incredibly terrifying. Almost all of them were proficient against his weaknesses. According to the training plan set by the city leader, he had to defeat each one before another would appear. In the virtual universe, the basic structure of the beast is fixed. To get stronger, you can only rely on your law comprehension and powerful techniques. The opponents that I have set for you. Defeat one and another will appear. If you can defeat 500, it means the technique you created is already top class. If you can defeat 1000, it means it has reached a pinnacle level. This is similar to the level of Shiluo Duo's absolute manuals. Of course, to be specific, you'd have to defeat 1,200 opponents to reach his level of techniques. Also, if you can defeat 2,000 opponents, it means your technique has reached the extreme level, the level of the techniques I create. Work hard, my student. This was what the city leader told him. These words made Luo Feng's ambition grow, and he was also able to feel just how terrifying his teacher was. Shiluo Duo's absolute manuals were at the pinnacle level, and his teacher, however, was considered an extreme level. Difficult. Beating each opponent was extremely tough. Each battle would make him reflect and refine his techniques more. The shortest he took with one opponent was about 10 days to half a month. The long ones took about 10 years, and he still wouldn't even be able to defeat him. The hardest of the first 500 was the Hui Suo Space Beast. This was an undying beast with the natural ability to stop time. It made Luo Feng lose many times. After a few hundred battles with it, taking a total of 18 years, it was the longest he took against an opponent. After spending 200 years, the Golden Horned Beast defeated 500 opponents. Regardless, Luo Feng wasn't satisfied at all. He continued to fight and study. It got harder and harder, and the time it took to defeat each opponent grew longer. However, he would constantly study the 3 ancient pictures from before, the battle scene of the beast god. This was much more profound than Shiluo Duo's absolute manuals. It also gave him a much more discerning feeling as he looked at them. A total of 1,000 years. He finally defeated the next 500 opponents. Howl. On a desolate planet, there were countless green threads flashing in the surrounding 10,000 kilometer. It wrapped the entire planet. The Golden Horned Beast waved its wings and left behind a terrifying silver blur of light. Not long after, countless green threads were instantly destroyed. Rumble, the planet was torn apart too, as it was slashed like tofu by the silver wings of the beast. The 1000th opponent was the rare life form green thread bug, and this opponent had stalled Luo Feng for 102 years. But finally he was able to defeat it. This bug could produce trillions of green threads, but it was rooted to the planet. It could control life puppets. This particular one the beast fought had no life puppets, and could only use its own body to fight. Battle after battle, the beast kept losing and being killed. After 100 years, it finally won once. Howl. The beast raised its head and howled. After which it became a human silhouette. I actually created a pinnacle technique. Even though it's only the first form, it's too powerful. Luo Feng was very excited. The Beast God armament had a total of 6 forms. The first was the Beast God Descends, but it was a form from Shiluo Duo's absolute manual. This was very normal. According to Luo Feng's plan, before becoming a knight, he would probably only create 2 to 3 forms. Luo Feng, I have to worship you. Barbata mocked him. Hee. Luo Feng smiled, as he was feeling happy within. How could he not? Shiluo Duo was an absolute being, and the manuals he created were terrifying. Even though he had only created the first form, at least this first form was on the level of Pinnacle manuals too. What's more, Luo Feng's law comprehension wasn't exactly very high. This first form was already good for him to use. Like the Beast God's second form, he had no way to use it at all. A technique that he can't use was useless. I've succeeded, it's time to visit teacher. Luo Feng thought. With a flash, he vanished. In the highest regions of Thunder Island, the shrine lay amidst the chaos energies. There were no staff or anybody around, and only endless chaos energies could be seen and felt. Luo Feng suddenly appeared and entered the shrine. Teacher. Luo Feng bowed with gratitude and respect. A blurry image walked out from the depths of the shrine, and he was dressed in a long gold robe, with green scales on his head. His face was similar to an earth human, and his expression was amiable. Only his eyes seemed profound like an endless ocean, or vast space. It was completely different from the body in Primal Chaos City. His gaze, however, was the same. Teacher. Luo Feng bowed respectfully. When he came to the shrine before, he never actually got to see his body. You've actually created a pinnacle technique. Even though it's only the first form, it's enough for you to use, and it's what you created yourself. There are many pinnacle techniques in the universe, but the one you create is most suitable for yourself. Even if you study other extreme level techniques to the highest level, if they don't suit you, their power will never be as strong as your own. The city leader's eyes were satisfied. Not bad, not bad. Luo Feng listened obediently. Extreme level technique. Firstly, they were incredibly hard to study, and every one of their creators were universe masters. Even if they didn't suit him, studying them would still be better than normal top-class techniques. However, Luo Feng had created a pinnacle level technique, just one level below the extreme level. And because he created it himself, it was most suitable for him, and its power naturally huge. Do you want to continue on? Attempting the 1001st opponent and moving on? The city leader joked as he asked. I naturally want to continue. Luo Feng replied respectfully. A soldier that didn't wish to become general was not a good soldier. A warrior that didn't wish to become a universe master wasn't fit to be one. Luo Feng naturally wanted to attain as much power as he could, hoping for his own technique to reach the extreme level. Even though he knew that the path was tough and the success rate was incredibly low, he would still attempt it. Very good. The city leader nodded satisfied. Does your technique have a name yet? The first form is set, but I still don't have a name for the entire manual. Luo Feng thought. What name? The city leader asked curiously. The first form is called Milky Way Across the Sky. Luo Feng said respectfully. This technique was a way to use the scaled wings and use it as blades. Like flying and winged blades, the two could interchange easily. This name came naturally to him when he created it. Think of one for the entire set. The city leader smiled. Even though it's only the first form, it's still one of a pinnacle manual, it has to have a name. This video will end here.